The Show Jumping Hall of Fame, our primary mission is to preserve the history of show jumping. And what we have for you right now is a little bit of history from 38 years ago, the ESPN telecast of the 1984 U.S. Open Championships from Charlotte.
Olympic veteran Robert Ridlin. And Robert, what type of role will this class play in the Olympic picture for 1984?
Well, Peter, the U.S. Open Championships are always one of the premier events of the AGA Tour, and this year is no exception, particularly since it is sandwiched between these two Olympic trials. We have several contending riders for the Olympic team right now. Katie Monahan, Michael Matz, Donald Cheska, Conrad Humfeld, Peter Leone. They are out here today to maintain as athletes their competitive edge. We'll see what happens.
Robert, what about the newcomers that will be a part of the action this afternoon? Have a few new faces, horses and riders. What kind of effect will this class have on them?
Well, I'll tell you, that'll be the question of the afternoon. We don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be a first time in a stadium for several horses and riders, and anything can happen when they're pitted against these veterans.
Well, we'll see if we can answer that question this afternoon. And we have an outstanding day planned for all of you on ESPN, the Mercedes U.S. Open Jumping Championships, coming your way in just a moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we can have everybody's attention, I'd like to get underway with our program. So enjoy your cheesecake, and we'd like to get underway with our program. Undivided attention from everybody just for a few minutes, and some very special moments coming your way as part of our dinner and induction. Again, thank you all very much for your support, your attendance tonight. As we mentioned, and as Robert mentioned, this is a dream come true for the Hall of Fame. We hope that it will continue. We'll continue to improve on everything that we do, making it the best ever and making it the dinner and the time to be here in Wellington, to be here in this room all together and talking about the past. What's wrong with that? That's what we all enjoy. And we certainly do enjoy all of that. Before we move into a very important part of the program, and we have a whole rack of blazers up here. We are going to recognize our inductees in grand fashion here tonight. This is a start. But before we get underway, I'd like to just quickly thank our volunteers that were with us here tonight: Kim Tudor, Denise Quirk, along with Ariel Weissman and Lenore Phillips. And Liz, where are you? Right here. Liz Soroka, she's the hardest working woman in show jumping. Okay, Marty is going to get us started here tonight, and we'd like to ask the inductees when they come up to make sure you remove, if you have a blazer on or some sort of coat, make sure you remove it so that we can get the blazer on you comfortably. And please, I hope they all fit. Fingers crossed. Okay, Marty's going to get us started, and I'm going to take it on the way, and we're going to invite and enjoy the inductees of the Show Jumping Hall of Fame.
So we're thrilled, in addition to the people and horse that will be going into the Hall of Fame, we have, I believe, 10 previous inductees here with us tonight. And we will be presenting each with a blazer with the Hall of Fame logo. And to start it off, our first presentation will be to an inductee from the class of 2018, the voice of show jumping in America, a sports nut who has made his father very proud, his father who is in radio and broadcasting, the chairman of the Hall of Fame, Peter Doubleday. Does it fit?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to meet and greet all of the inductees, and part of the movement of the Grand Prix sport accelerating into the big time, Olympic course designer, and I'm sure you have jumped and seen a few of his obstacles in your lifetime. Let's welcome Steve Stevens. Come on up here, Steve. From the class of 1998, A small, young farm girl from Tennessee becomes an Olympic gold medalist and an NBC commentator, Melanie Smith Taylor. Now, he started, and he is part of the class of 2005. He mowed the lawns of his neighbor just to pay the bills. And after a Grand Prix debut in 1970, he carried the flag in the Olympics, had a Kentucky Derby winner. Let's welcome Michael Matz. From the class of 2007, the caretaker of Hall of Fame horses through most of her career, one of the top FEI officials in the world who keeps everyone in line still to this day. Let's welcome Karen Golding. From the class of 2016, the horse Full House put her on the map. Olympian, and if you have ever been to one of her clinics, they are really awesome. Let's welcome Ann Kurzinski. From the class of 2017, from a very humble beginning at the Salty Dog to an Olympic bronze medal, the nickname Storm and Norman suits him perfectly, Norman Delajoyo. From the class of 2018, Olympic rider, Olympic coach, and after graduating from Yale, he chose the life of a gypsy on the road. He is now an excellent chef, California-based Robert Ridlett. From the class of 2019, born in Morristown, New Jersey, she lives and breathes 24/7 the world of horses. From an acting family, she struck gold in 1984. Welcome, Leslie Howard. From the class of 2019, he rolled the ingate at major shows, graduated to show management, and enjoyed officiating up to the Olympic level. He's the head writer and co-star of the Peter and David Morning Show, Florida-based David Destler. We are going to call upon the two inductees that were part of a ceremony last year on week 11 of our Winter Equestrian Festival. Now, the whole idea of having a dinner and an induction ceremony is to have a little response from those who are inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's extremely important. That was one of the goals for all of us in putting this event on here at the Wanderers Club. Before we do that, we'd just like to thank, of course, Stevens Designs and the Doubleday Foundation. They are the sponsors of the beautiful blazers. There are 12 more that are going in the mail to all of the other inductees that will be a part of the ceremony. Again, they'll have a chance to wear them at home. We hope that you all wear them proudly anywhere you go. Just remember, if you're in a bar late at night with one of those blazers on, we know what can happen there. So, I'm not talking to you about Steve. Well, anyways, the whole idea of doing this here tonight was to have some response from those who get inducted. Last year, on the table bank, we inducted Leslie Howard and David Destler into the class of 2019. We talked all about them. Everybody knows about them, but they did not have a chance to express their thanks and their gratitude for the honor of being in the Hall of Fame. First, here on the podium, I'd like to ask Leslie Howard to join us just for a few words.
Well, for the Hall of Fame, it takes an army, owners, sponsors, grooms, vets, blacksmiths, husbands. But I'd really like to thank one person that for 35 years has been in charge of the Hall of Fame. We all know who he is. He's somewhere here. And for 35 years, every January, he walks up to you with a stack of ballots. And he says, Leslie, it's time to vote for the Hall of Fame again. You can vote for a person. You can vote for a horse. You can vote for a horse, but not a person. You don't have to vote for anybody. But anyway, please take this ballot and fill it out. So, okay, Marty. So you take the ballot, and Monday, when you get your wash out of the dryer, there it is, all crumpled up. So then in February, he walks up to you with a piece of paper and pen and says, okay, who are you voting for? You can vote for a horse. You can vote for a person. You don't have to vote for anybody. So all I'm saying to the nominating committee, will you please nominate this man for the Hall of Fame?
Thank you very much, Leslie. And actually, I think we have tried to do that, and we are going to try to do that with Marty Bowman. He lives and breathes the Hall of Fame. We thank him very much for everything he does. And again, also on that table bank last year, we inducted one of my best friends throughout my life. And again, he was the best paddock master I ever had as a show announcer. And we had a lot of fun on the early morning ranks. Again, I think we actually started, I think Howard Stern and these other people copied what we did in the barn area back in those days. But anyways, for the Peter and David show. But David Destler would like to say a few words to all of you. Let's welcome him.
Hi. Okay, so I have a few notes because I'm old and I can't remember very well. First of all, this dinner tonight is a product of Peter Doubleday and Marty Bowman, and the woman behind the curtain, Liz Soroka. And I think they all deserve a huge applause because this wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for them. I want to thank everybody I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people that, well, obviously, they voted for me. But for all the people that made me made me me. Other organizers, other judges, stewards. This is stuff I learned from farriers, from veterinarians, from grooms, from riders, from trainers. I mean, I love learning. I learn, if I don't learn every day, or at least occasionally, I feel like I'm missing something. Learning's the greatest thing in the world, and you just absorb that kind of stuff. And those are the people that made me who I am, and they're the reason I'm here. So I want to thank all of them. Some of them are here. Some of you are sitting here. You don't even know that I've learned from you and absorbed from you. And I thank you all, because it means so much to me. And the only person I'm going to thank personally, because if I do individuals, you forget somebody, and then somebody's feelings get hurt. I want to thank my wife, Sharon, because I love her. And I want to congratulate all the inductees, the past, the present, and the future, because it's so important. And I'm so proud to be a part of all of this. And I thank you all. That's it.
Our 2008 winning combination is back now. He has won major Grand Prix here this year. Over $1 million won by this combination last year. Here is McLean Ward and Sapphire. Traveler's time to beat is 34.87, the split time of 17 after the fence number 10 for our leader.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you think of Hall of Fame horses now, there are 24 already in the Hall of Fame. Some of the great names, not to name them all, it'd take too long here tonight, but just might be attached to someone here in the room. Of course, the great Calypso, Jet Run, I Love You, Starman, Idle Dice, Authentic Gem Twist, just to name a few. You think of great Hall of Fame horses, we're about to add another one to the Hall of Fame here tonight. Now, retired at the Devon Horse Show in 2012, the Grand Prix at Devon is named after her. And I have to admire again, we all know that McLean Ward, the total focus of this rider on a Grand Prix day and on a very important day is not unnoticed. You got to leave him alone. But that night at Devon with the packed house, everybody packed in there like a sardine at Devon, it was one of the most beautiful ceremonies I have ever witnessed in my career of 50 years at the horse show. And tonight, to lend a little bit more to the story of one of the great mares, and how ironic was it today that he won the Grand Prix with the great Azure mare. And let's see, 2008, we take the Wayback Machine all the way back there. He won that same Grand Prix today on week 8 of the CSIO with Sapphire. McLean, come on up.
Say a few words there. Come on up here, Tom. So for those that you don't know, this is Tom Grossman, Sapphire's co-owner with me and a great friend. Well, thank you, obviously, to all the voting committee and the Hall of Fame. Obviously, it's a great honor to be part of Sapphire Sarah. She was a spectacular teammate, friend, and really made a lot of dreams come true for a lot of us who are associated with her. We'd be remiss if I don't go back and talk about the people that were part of her story. The Van Bunder family who bred her, who still does a lot of breeding and work in our industry. My father and Harry Gill and Francois Matty, who believed enough in the mare to recognize her talent as a very young horse. And it was an interesting story. Two of the Leon brothers, who we all know well in this room, had tried to buy Sapphire, and for one reason or another, it hadn't come together, and I had heard about her. And probably dating myself a little bit in our business, I called Francois Matty, who owned her at the time, and I said, well, is this horse, as good as Mark and Peter say? Oh, yeah, she's super. And so we bought her, no trial, no vetting, and we didn't know what color she was. And at that time, it was quite expensive, I remember. And she came into the country, and I'm going to call Erica out, who has been in my corner for 30-plus years now. She asked Francois her name, and with his accent, he said Safari. And Erica wrote down Sapphire, and she was forever Sapphire. So I want to thank, as I said, Harry Gill believed in me very early in my career and owned part of her. And then the Harrison family bought Harry out to keep the mare underneath me and representing the United States. And then several years later, the decision was made to sell part of her. And my friend Tom Grossman stepped up in a very important time and purchased her with my father and myself, and the story went from there. So, thank you, Tom. You kept it all going. Great friend. There was one small thing about Sarah that that really separated her, was that she understood what we were asking. She understood the game. And in 2004, leading up to our first Olympic Games, we were at a show in Germany, Hockenberg, I believe, and we got up to the in-gate and for the Grand Prix, and Ludger was in the ring, which, you know, in Germany is very serious, and she whinnied very loud. And there was this older German in-gate gentleman, and he turns to me and he goes, "Shh, shh." What can I do? Sapphire, Sarah did that every major Grand Prix the rest of her career. To the point in Las Vegas one year, you could hear her in the stands. My wife could hear her in the stands. The horse just got it. It understood something was different. And, you know, as optimists, we all think, you know, the next horse, the next turn is going to be better. I've not sat on another one like her. In the end, she was the very best. So, thank you. Oh, you go first.
Thank you very much. And again, our congratulations. Another super horse in the Hall of Fame. Thank you very much, McLean. On to our second inductee. And this will be, again, from the class of 2020, as we have a total of 101 riders or personalities in our horse show world that are in the Hall of Fame already. And we are going to add 3 here tonight. The first of those 3, at this time, we'd like to talk a little bit about a young lady who made the trip as quickly as she could from Ocala today. And again, I think her husband did not drive. I'm sure you drove, right, Margie? Okay. Anyway, we're going to push the button on the Wayback Machine, and let's take a look.
So in case you didn't know, in the ring now it is entry number 5, Daydream and Margie Goldstein from the United States Equestrian Team.
I like to have the Wayback Machine going way back with Daydream. Show jumping announcers try to be very respectful of lady riders' ages and not announce them certainly after a certain age. That was always brought up to me in my early time. But our next inductee was born on March 31st, 1958. Margie Ellen Goldstein / Engle. Long time ago, the person she would like to meet was Robin Williams due to his quick wit. Career choice, if not a rider, she wanted to be a comedian. She enjoys making people laugh and smile, very challenging for her over the past 2 years, if you know what I mean. Her first job
was cleaning the dog and cat kennels at the stable. She was too young to groom horses, she was told. Lessons at age 9, first favorite pony was Gladewynn's Garnet. At the age of 13, she attended the American Invitational in Tampa, and after watching the event, I knew I always wanted to do that, and that was show jumping. Now, if you remember, the first horse, Puck W. Okay, Puck W, huh? Puck W got started, followed by Paladin, Spindletop Jackpot, then came the big Hanoverian Daydream, and a full-time career on the year-long circuit started back in 1985. Now, quickly racking up all the honors, the first of 10 AGA Rider of the Year titles in '89, Equestrian of the Year, Nations Cup, World Cup appearances, incredible stats, wins, clear rounds, horses ridden, and the first 11 years of the national computer list, she spent 175 weeks out of 416 weeks at the #1 position. She represented the King of Beers in grand fashion, one of the first riders to obtain, especially a very important sponsor, a beer sponsor, and we appreciated that. Olympics in 2000, Pan American Games, World Cup Finals, World Games, a massive amount of Grand Prix wins. Some of the great horses, of course, Salute, Sebastian, Aristo, Land of Kings. We're going to name just a few, but there are a lot of horses that were in her stable. Wampino, Reggae, Jones, Famina, Cuervo Gold, Indigo, Royce, Decas, right up to the present time. She was married to Steve, the veterinarian, on November 18th, 1995. Her mother, Mona, was a school administrator. Her father, Irving, was an accountant. The best advice she ever received from her father, work long and hard. Good things will happen. Never lose sight of morals and do what is right, and you'll never have to look over your shoulder. $11 million plus in lifetime earnings, 230 Grand Prix victories, 57 Nation Cup appearances, and closing in on 40 years of the circuit. Ladies and gentlemen, I now give you our inductee, Margie Engel.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is from the desk of Margie Engel. Before we dismiss her tonight, please just lend an ear to this. This is from Margie. She's too shy to read this. I told her she wanted to read this. So.
I can do jokes, but I can't talk about this stuff.
Okay, there you go. She's a jokester, whatever. Listen carefully. This is from Margie and from the desk of Margie Engel. To be included in this group is an awesome honor and difficult to put into words. I have admired and have held high esteem to these men, women, and horses throughout my entire career and still do. They are truly giants in our industry. These are horsemen and horses that we have learned from and continue to do so as we gain insights from watching how they train, how they perform, as to how they achieve success in our industry. All of us here tonight are involved in this industry because of the love and passion we have for these magnificent animals. The passion that we all share for them is what brings us all together, that we can share and learn from one another, and doing so form long-lasting, lifelong friendships. These amazing animals have given us so much more than just the means to compete. Throughout history, been no other animal species that has carried mankind literally on their backs as transportation, whether for work or for play, to safety and even into war. They've been instrumental in their use for healing the handicap, including our veterans involved in the entertainment industry all over the world. They give us their heart and their soul in a partnership that few ever get to experience as we do when we compete. In this partnership, we are taught some of life's lessons: patience, kindness, faithfulness, perseverance, and responsibility. Unfortunately, there isn't enough time to thank all the individuals that were instrumental in giving me a leg up in this industry. That really would take all night. I do hope you all know how grateful I am, beginning with my staff, both past and present. Bernie kind of fits in both categories. The team of veterinarians, I know Dr. Steele is looking down with a tear in his eye and a smile on his face as he sees Beezie and I sharing in this honor here tonight. Our farriers, physical therapists, our owners have made this journey possible, sponsors, trainers, friends all along the way, and last but not certainly least, my husband, Steve. He has been my rock. He helps keep me grounded in an industry with so many highs and a whole lot of lows. I think most competitors will agree we are not at our best always and the most pleasant at the end of the day when we haven't performed well and our end result wasn't what we hoped. We helped put the horses back together and has had to help me a time or two to get me back up on my feet. He keeps us going so that we are ready to fight another day and to be at our best. Finally, I would like to thank everyone involved with the Hall of Fame for keeping the history of our industry current. Our history of show jumping is so important, and it is my hope, Margie's hope, that we can all learn from it. This takes a lot of time, dedication that stems from a love for our sport, and I'm grateful and applaud your efforts. And finally, I want to congratulate all my fellow horsemen as well as the horse upon receiving their well-deserved honors tonight. From Margie Engel.
There you go, Margie.
All right. Thank you very much. As most of you that know me know, I talk a lot, but in these situations, I'm not very good. So that's why Peter has a much better voice anyway. So thank you all very much for everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, our third inductee here on our Sunday night, Mason Phelps. Now, I can remember, reflect, of course, when Mason is symbolic of the American Jumping Derby. I'll never forget it. The parties, the first time I ever ate rattlesnake over the grill. House, I was never invited to the upstairs in the house, I know that. Cold days, they were like football weather, like a real September and real show jumping sport. Rain, mud, wind, everything in Newport, Rhode Island. It was an unforgettable experience for those who did not experience it or too young to experience it. It was an incredible journey through those September afternoons in Newport, Rhode Island. Finally, before I introduce the person who's going to induct him tonight, he was someone who wasn't afraid to say what he meant. He wasn't afraid to speak up. I admire that, and I think all of you admire that in someone. Ladies and gentlemen, here to induct Mason Phelps, one of his great buddies, and I was very touched by his article on Horse Network. The title of that article, right after he passed earlier past year, was called My Friend Mason. Here's Marty Bowman.
To begin, I want to say that Mason is the person who brought me into this sport. That was in 1978, and if it were not for him, I would not have had the career or the life that I've been so blessed with. Mason and I really were very different in a lot of ways, but for whatever reason, we hit it off right from the start, and we always remained very close friends. It's my belief that everybody wants to be loved, especially by those we love, and everyone wants to be appreciated, especially by those we care about. And that was very much the case with Mason. And there was no one he loved more than his many friends in the horse show world, and nothing he cared about as much as the horse show world, to which he devoted his life and did everything he could to try to help it and make it better. There were really two keys to Mason's success. One is that he thought big, real big, like having 4 future Hall of Famers make a grand entrance into one of his Denim and Diamond fundraisers riding on the back of an elephant. Remember that, Ann? You know, a lot of us that night were convinced that the 4 of you were going to try to have that elephant jump a fence. The other key to Mason's success is that once he decided to do something, he gave it everything he had. He put his heart and soul into it and spent every waking moment doing whatever he could to ensure its success, whether it was his American Jumping Derby, which to this day remains unrivaled as the most spectacular horse show our sport has ever seen, or his Denim and Diamonds fundraisers, which were always, every year, the party of the year, and which raised millions and millions of dollars for the USET and other charities. Or Phelps Media Group, which he built into the biggest public relations firm in the sport of show jumping, or what he did to reestablish the National Horse Show. Being elected to the Hall of Fame would mean everything to Mason, because it would say to him that the people he loved so dearly love him, and that what he accomplished in his life truly did make the horse show world better. It is an honor for me to stand here on his behalf and accept his induction into the Hall of Fame. And on his behalf, I want to thank the Show Jumping Hall of Fame, everyone in this room, and the entire horse show world. Thank you.
Yeah, just a quick reconnaissance in there from Beezie and Chic in Derincourt. So first real big show for Chic and Beezie, but you know, this horse is on her radar. It's one of the ones she wants to have in her arsenal to choose from come springtime and Gothenburg, when she'll go to defend her World Cup title. Had a super weeks jumping in the Speed Tour here at the National Horse Show as well, winning the Welcome, second in the Accumulator and third in the Table C. She finds the room.
Yeah, that's what I like. I was surprised they haven't done it yet. Beezie did it quite easily, and she was very smart. On her entrance, she went through that gap. There's the 5, easy. And that was nice. Come on, Beezie, 7.
Super.
Very smooth. Come on, go, 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 go. Everything showing up for her. Now really take a run at the last. Come on, Bees.
38.10 to beat.
Yeah, right into the lead.
Yeah. No surprise at all. She is super fast on any horse.
Beezie Madden, her real name is Elizabeth, but I met her probably when she was a pony rider out at the Bloomfield Hills Hunt Club at Detroit, Michigan, way, way back when. Does anyone ever remember the horse Black Gold? Well, that was one of her very first. That was one of the very first that I had the honor to announce in Grand Prix show jumping. Personally, I had the chance to flat one of her horses at a Grand Prix. Now, I think John wanted me to get more involved with the horse so I could talk about it better on the PA system. So anyways, he said, why don't you walk Northern Magic around the field with the rest of the riders one afternoon? So I did, and once I started trotting him, I lost the ride that day. They told me, you're off. Okay, I was only supposed to walk the horse around. Married on November 14th, 1998, Nations Cups, an amazing stat, 98, amassed one of the greatest resumes of any rider in history. Here to tell you more about it, I'd like to introduce her very proud husband, John Madden.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much. For those of you that don't know me, I'm John Beezie Madden's husband, and I'm really happy to be here. It's a real honor. Beezie got to choose who would introduce her, and she gave me the honor of doing it, but it made me a little bit nostalgic for thinking over Beezie's career, which has been not so bad. And I thought of the other people who could have introduced Beezie and would have been honored to introduce Beezie. And when I thought of some of those people, it spoke a lot to me about what a fantastic person Beezie really is. And one of those people early on was Elizabeth Bush Burke, Love. And we know she told things the way she felt. And I think her theme would have been that Beezie was just the best. She said it through good times and bad times. Every time something went wrong, she said, Beezie's the best. She'll work it out. Another person that's not with us that would have been great at introducing Beezie was Dr. John R. Doc Steele. He was a no-nonsense guy, rough and gruff, and could put you in your place, but I think he would have just introduced Beezie as my girl, and then he would have broke up crying and wouldn't have been able to say anything else. Another person that we would have been honored to do it would be Beezie's longtime great friend and great person in our team, Clark Shipley. And Clark was a groom for Beezie. He was with her through many great things. And I think he would have had us rolling on the floor laughing and just had a toast to the Beezer. There's another person that is still with us, and she's been an incredible part of our team, Abigail Wexner. And she's become a dear friend because she has been a teammate through thick and thin, and she couldn't be here tonight because she's a teammate to so many other people and does great humanitarian things for people all over the world, and that's why she's been such a dear friend and such a great teammate to us. There are two other people, and they're here in the room tonight, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have come up here to introduce them, Beezie, and that's Kathy and Joe Patton. And Kathy and Joe, Beezie's mom and dad, gave her talent. They gave her her background, her character, her responsibility, her loyalty, her all the great things, compassion, empathy. And they shared in the love of the horse together as a family. So I was thinking I should tell you something about what she's done and her great accomplishments and how amazing it is, all the things she's done. But to me, what's even more amazing is how she's done it. And that's what I think is really her greatest success in her career. I think she's done it. I think the horses know how she's done it. And I think for years and years, why have the horses and the people around her rise to such heights? Well, I think they've risen to such heights because Beezie is an amazing horsewoman, an amazing teammate, an amazing American, an amazing competitor, and a wonderful horse person. And she loves her horses, and what's key is you can't really love something if you don't know how to. So she's invested everything in knowing how to love, care for, and respect her horses. But I think her horses know one more truth, and that is, as great as Beezie is as a horse person, rider, teammate, all these things, she's even a better human being. So I'd like to congratulate Beezie and ask her to come up here, and thank you very much.
I won't. All right, good. All set. Thank you, John, for that introduction. I think we all know that it goes without saying I wouldn't be up here if it weren't for his drive and his belief in myself and our team. So it was only fitting that he introduced me. It's been quite a journey to get to the Hall of Fame here, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's taken me to places I never would have dreamed of going and enabled me to meet so many wonderful and influential people. I have also been lucky to work with and partner with some very loyal and generous people, from mentors, coaches, teammates, sponsors, and most importantly, some wonderful owners and and our staff. So many of these people are here today over in the corner of the room, including my parents, who John already introduced to you. They introduced me to the world of horses at a very young age. There are some who couldn't be with us here tonight, but they are here in spirit or watching from above. These people and the many great horses I was privileged to ride are really the ones who deserve the credit for me being up here tonight. So please join me in giving them a hand as well. Those are the people really that do all the work. I'm the driver that gets all the glory, except for some of the days when I double as a crash dummy, and those are the times that I pay my dues. This is really a great honor to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I look at those who have been inducted in the past and see people who have been my mentors, some my idols, and they have all had admirable successes. But most importantly, I'm grateful to them for being a part of evolving our sport into what it is today, showing us all how to be good horsemen, and providing opportunities for my generation that might never have been available to us without them. My biggest hope is that in 10 to 20 years from now, someone from the next generation is standing up here saying the same about myself. I also hope that in 20 years from now, the Hall of Fame is bigger and better than ever. I want to thank the generous sponsors and volunteers, and of course Marty and Peter Doubleday for their passion in this. They work so hard to keep the history of our sport immortalized. With technology the way it is today, we are bombarded with instant news stories and sometimes striving to be the first to know something. But I like to think that old news is just as important when it comes to helping our sport move to the future and develop future horsemen. So thank you to those who keep the wheels in motion and have provided us with such a lovely evening here tonight. Let us all help them keep a good thing going, and thank you for voting me in so I can join my friend Authentic on the Wall of Fame. Thank you.
Beezie, you have the most incredible parents of anybody in this room. I really mean that. Every day they would be out watching her ride. And I know that happens to a lot of you, but they were very noticeable, especially from the Tower of Power. Well, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick plug before we send you off tonight. We'd like to thank Dandy Products. They will be sponsoring Sapphire's plaque that will go up in the Hall of Fame, on the Wall of Fame in Lexington at the Rolex Stadium. And we'd also like to mention, that if you earned a blue coat tonight, I'd like to get one more picture right outside the door there in front of the banner of all the blue coats before you all disperse. The dream comes true. Thank you very much for living throughout the Hall of Fame. Let's do it again next year. Thank you very much.